What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And today, I'm going to get into everything that happened across the NFL in Week 8, the week of the underdog. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
DiVincenzo at three. Bang! Bang! Got the wall. He jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career.
All right, getting into the episode and starting off with a controversial Thursday night football matchup. Rams and Vikings going at it. The Rams started the year off hot when they had all their weapons. They had Puka Nacua, they had Cooper Kupp, and both of those guys got injured 2 or 3 weeks into the season. But that wasn't the case on Thursday night. Both of them made their returns to the field. And they didn't do a ton, but they did enough to win the football game. It was arguably they definitely got a lot of help from the refs on that face mask call, but it's gonna take that sometimes. I mean, the Vikings are a good football team. Sam Darnold is a good quarterback this year. He's made all the right reads, he's made all the right throws, and that's what he's got to do. He's got a good amount of talent surrounding him in Justin Jefferson, in Jordan Addison. He just got to read the defense and make the right play. Because there are a lot of quarterbacks that are better than Sam Darnold. But the thing that Darnold is doing that's putting him at such an elite level this year is he's reading defenses extremely well and at an extremely high level. That is the key to being a top quarterback in the NFL. But the Rams take this one 30-20. They get a lot of help from the refs. That face mask definitely should have been called. The ref had a perfect view of the play, and he just didn't call it. It is what it is. It's the Rams and the Vikings. So if you're a Rams fan, that's a big game to win. Because now you're 3-4, just a game under 500. And in the conference, they're dead last, but they're only a half game back. The NFC West is going insane this year. Cardinals 4-4 lead the division. Well, top three teams are tied for the division lead at 500. Arizona, San Francisco, and Seattle. So they're not going insane, but it's a really tight division race. And I'll get to the Niners later. But Arizona, San Francisco, Seattle all tied at 4-4. The Rams are the last team at 3-4 just because they had a bye week. But that win is huge to keep them in the race because just a couple losses could really knock the Rams out of this race. All right, let's get to Sunday. Let's start with the New York Jets. I don't even know where to begin. I posted a podcast in July, and the title of that podcast was, "Are the Jets going to be a dumpster fire again?" I posted that episode thinking I was going to be dead wrong. I'm going to be honest. I did not think I would be right. But the Jets have somehow found a way to be abysmal and be a terrible team once again. I mean, it's honestly laughable at this point. The Jets season is over at this point. They're 2-6. They're tied with the Patriots. And when you're tied with the Patriots, a team that's coached by Gerard Mayo in his first season as a coach, no disrespect, but Drake May, they're just so inexperienced and they're not a great football team. Ramondre Stevenson is potentially the most overrated running back in the NFL. But this Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, Allen Lazard, this whole experiment, it's got to be done. I mean, I'm not saying you bench Aaron Rodgers or you don't play Davante Adams. Obviously, you're going to play them. But after this year or at the trade deadline, I don't think it happens at the trade deadline, but Joe Douglas might be on the phones talking to some teams about Aaron Rodgers. I think the question for other teams is Aaron Rodgers going to play past this year, or is this it for Rodgers? Because this is awful. And I get that he's a little bit banged up, but at this point in the season, everybody is. It's week 8 in the NFL. You're not gonna be perfectly healthy right now. But I also think there has to be some blame on Breece Hall, who showed a lot of promise in his first couple years in the NFL. But he has been absolutely silent this year. And I don't know if this is because of Robert Saleh not using him as he's supposed to be used, or if it's Jeff Ulbrich, who's a defensive coordinator at heart. He doesn't know how to scheme an offense. So Breece Hall is kind of just left out of the picture, and he's going to let his offensive coordinator and Aaron Rodgers deal with most of, if not the entire offense. But I guess Braylon Allen has stepped up and replaced a good chunk of Breece Hall's production, but there could definitely be a lot more production out of Breece Hall. Breece Hall, at his best, is a top 3 running back in the sport. He's quick. He's athletic. He could break a big run at any time. He's lethal through the passing game if utilized the right way. So I don't really know what the Jets are going to do with Breece Hall, but I think he's the pick out of that draft. I feel like Garrett Wilson's also been very quiet. The Jets just haven't had enough going offensively. It's been on all parts of the field. They haven't had anything. And that's what happens. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. The Jets are just so bad. It's laughable. There's just nothing good to talk about with the Jets. I mean, Greg Zuerlein. Let's take a beat. Let's take a minute and talk about Greg Zuerlein. Greg Zuerlein has single-handedly lost the Jets at least 3 football games. 3. And this is the NFL. You don't just get a bunch of wins. You have to earn every single one of them. You have to fight in every single game you play just to win a couple games, which the Jets have not done well this year. The Jets have not done much at all well this year. But Greg Zuerlein has left so many points on the board that could have been so many huge field goals, clutch field goals. Like that game against the Broncos, he missed a chip shot to lose that game. He missed another field goal in the Patriots game that would have allowed that would have sent the game to overtime. It wouldn't have in the moment, but eventually it would have if the score held the way it did. This is 3 games that Greg Zuerlein has let. How is he still on the Jets roster? How? Explain it to me. Yeah, they worked out 6 kickers this week so far, including Cade York, who has been solid in the NFL for multiple years now. But Greg Zuerlein does not have a place on the Jets roster. It doesn't make sense to me. He is not a good kicker, and he does not deserve an NFL roster spot. All right, let's get to the defensive side of the ball with the Jets and Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner has to be the most overrated cornerback in the NFL this season. He has done absolutely nothing. And the Jets are acting like he's worth so much money. He's worth like $20 million a year. He does not deserve that much. He is getting beat repeatedly on what feels like every game. He's getting torched by his assignment. And there's nothing the Jets can do about it. That's on Sauce Gardner. He has to get in the lab. He has to figure out, watch some film, work harder. I mean, he's always on social media talking about his golf, whatever he's doing in his personal life. Like, lock in on football. That's what you're paid a lot of money to do. Just lock in on it. So Sauce has to be better if the Jets want to go anywhere, because there is a sliver of hope that the Jets can go on some unheard of run and win like 7 of their next 9 games. and somehow sneak into the playoffs, but just based on how much talent is on this Jets roster. I mean, I mentioned that video I posted in July about the Jets being a dumpster fire. I recorded and posted that after the Hassan Reddick holdout started. Well, Hassan Reddick was back this week. The whole Jets defensive line was intact, and you still gave up 25 points to the freaking Patriots. Drake May is their starting quarterback, and he got hurt. So you really let Jacoby Brissett and Drake May beat you. That's the point it's at for the Jets defensive line. It is unacceptable. All right, let's get to the next big game of the week, because that Jets game was just brutal. We got Packers and Jaguars. I'm not going to go through every game, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on most of the games. But that Jets game, I just have to spend a while on because, I don't know, I feel like I base this podcast off New York sports. That's a tri-state area team. So I'll probably do a similar thing for the Jets, or for the Giants, rather. But the Packers and the Jaguars, Jags coming in this game, they have nothing to play for. They're just playing out their house money. Honestly, trying to tank, probably. That's the part of the season we're getting to. We're figuring out which teams are going to start tanking already. It's only week 9. But the Jags are not going anywhere this year. Trevor Lawrence has not lived up to the hype. He's the highest paid player in the NFL and in NFL history, and he's still not good. Yeah, Gabe Davis is his number 1 wide receiver, but you saw what Josh Allen did with Gabe Davis in a primary role. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. But the Jags, they should be losing these games. But for the Packers, who I want to focus on more, you cannot be giving up 27 points and winning on a game-winning field goal. That is unacceptable. Jordan Love has to get his interception problem under control because he's got 9 on the season. He threw another one in this game. He is one of the most exciting young guys because he's still pretty young. This is his second season playing for real. So he's got to get this under control if he wants to move forward with his career and really expand his game and be considered a top 5 quarterback in the league. Because right now, I think he's probably top 12. Go Mahomes over him, Lamar over him. I go Tua. If we're basing it on this year, Tua definitely. Sam Darnold, 100%. I mean, so he's right on the outside, probably in the 7 to 8 range. But he definitely can be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league if he gets this interception, because he's mobile. He's a mobile quarterback. Yeah, Jaden Daniels is also better than him. He's a mobile quarterback, but his game is based on throwing the ball. Jared Goff, just spewing out names here. But he's got to get these interceptions down. That's priority number 1 for him this offseason and for the rest of the season. Because you cannot be throwing interceptions at that high of a level in the highest level of football when your team is trying to contend for the Super Bowl. I get they're not at that point yet, but we'll see where the win takes them in the future. All right, moving on to the next game. Let's go Browns and Ravens. Who Browns with the upset? Jameis Winston playing with house money comes out and leads the Browns to a 29-24 win over the top MVP candidate, Lamar Jackson, and the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens had every chance to win this game. I mean, Rashad Bateman dropped a huge pass about 30 yards down the field. It would have been a touchdown if he made the play. But he let it slip off his fingertips, and that was a huge miss for the Ravens. I mean, Justin Tucker had a chance at a field goal. What has happened to Justin Tucker this season? In the year of the kicker, Justin Tucker has not had the same mojo, the same greatness that he's had in past years. Like, he is not succeeding whatsoever on 50+ yard field goals. He is like 1 for 7, I think, which not acceptable for the Ravens, who are a very high level team and a very serious Super Bowl contender. But Lamar Jackson has to throw the deep ball better. It's been a theme throughout his whole career. He's never been able to throw the deep ball. He can get the ball downfield, yeah, but he can never throw it with some touch. I mentioned the Rashad Bateman drop. There was also one where he overthrew his receiver. I think it was Zay Flowers by about 5 yards. And then there was one on this sideline on that last drive where he underthrew his receiver and it allowed the defensive back to catch up and make the play. So Lamar's got to throw the deep ball better. And that's becoming something that's more common in the NFL today. I mean, Anthony Richardson does a great job at throwing the deep ball, and I'll get to the Anthony Richardson situation in a couple minutes here. But he's elite at throwing the deep ball. I wouldn't say elite. He's good at the throw. He just throws it up there. His receiver Zach Moss gets downfield and then just makes a play. It goes in his hands every time, I feel like. But I'm not too worried about the Colts because at the end of the day, Joe Flacco's now their starting quarterback. Like I said, I'll get to that in a couple minutes. But staying with this Ravens game, that's 2 bad losses for the Ravens this year. 2 of their 3 losses were to bottom feeders in the Raiders and the Cleveland Browns, who are arguably the worst team in football. It's either the Jags, the Panthers, or the Cleveland Browns. So I think that the Ravens just got to win the games they're supposed to. Good teams win games they're supposed to. They can't let these games derail their season. They can't play down to their competition. They have to stay playing at the same high level they do for the rest of their matchups, and they're going to succeed because they're a good football team. They've got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. But when they play down to their competition, it's not good. It's not going to work at all. All right. Let's go Falcons Bucks. I'm gonna probably glance over this game, but not just skim over it, but I'm not gonna talk for too long. The Bucks put up a really good fight, I thought. They don't have really anybody that Baker Mayfield should be targeting. I mean, Cade Otton was their leading receiver on National Tight End Day. How fitting. Tight ends showed up across the league this Sunday. It was a sight to see. Kyle Pitts actually had a good game. That's a first. But Baker Mayfield and the Bucks actually did put up a very good fight. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but it was only 31-26. So I commend the Bucks for that. I commend them for fighting through the Chris Godwin and Mike Evans injuries and really just going out there and putting up a solid fight against a Falcons team who is looking dangerous. Kirk Cousins in Atlanta might be one of the best pickups, the best pickup this offseason, but one of the best free agent signings in the past 5 to 10 years. He's really taken a liking to that Atlanta culture. Yeah, Falcons look dangerous in the NFC South. All right, next game I want to talk about. Bears and Commanders. Oh, boy. This was a game. This was the game of the week. Probably the play of the year and the game of the year. Jayden Daniels was questionable to play all week, but he comes out and balls out in this one. Jayden Daniels showed up in a big way, and it wasn't just that last play, the absolute Hail Mary, the tip drill. Just a beautiful, that's how you execute a Hail Mary. That's the play that coaches are going to show players all across the league and all across the country. That's how you want to execute the Hail Mary. Jayden Daniels bought himself time, stepped into it, delivered it downfield, put air under it so his receivers could time up the jump. Bears tipped it, and they had the safe man back deeper in the end zone who made the catch. game match. That's a big win for the Commanders. Solidifies Jaden Daniels as the better of the first and second overall picks, I think. I thought he should have been the number one pick overall, but I think Caleb Williams is going to be a really good quarterback too. That this quarterback class has proven to be solid, whether it's Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, or Caleb Williams. That's three guys in their rookie seasons that are doing some damage. All right, let's go to the Monday Night Football. This will be the last game. Giants and Steelers. I mentioned the Jets being a dumpster fire. The Giants are flat out abysmal. It is borderline ridiculous what's going on with Brian Daboll and the Giants. Whether it's Deontay Banks blowing up on the sidelines, Daniel Jones flipping out on the sidelines, which I don't mind. Yeah, he hasn't played well, but what is his team doing? What was that 2-point conversion attempt? Can someone tell me there's no blocking? There's no want to. Daniel Jones just flipped it out to Wan'Dale Robinson, and the Steelers were on him immediately. How does your blocking let that happen? That is the one thing that can't happen. That play can't get blown up in the backfield. That's a little screen pass. You gain usually 2-3 yards on that. That is not a play that gets blown up very often. And blocking in football, it's just the want to. It's just the hustle. It's like rebounding in basketball. If you want to, you'll do it. And the Giants obviously don't want to enough. The Giants are a team, they know they're not going to make it to the playoffs this year. It was questionable before the season started, but as soon as Sam Darnold came out and torched them in week 1, it was over. And I don't like John Mara giving Daves and Shane the job security and Daboll endorsing Daniel Jones. Put them on the hot seat. Make them work because now they're comfortable. Now they feel as if they have a cushion and they can be a little bit more lackadaisical because they know nothing's probably going to come of this season. But so they're going to work for next year. Daboll and Shane are going to be thinking about what quarterback they want in the draft. They want Shedeur Sanders. They want Jackson Dart because it seems like that's how high they're going to be drafting. But this job security, it's too much. They have too much of it. They're too comfortable. And let me get to Malik Nabers for a second because I don't really like Malik Nabers. He doesn't seem like a pro to me. The things he says in his post-game press conferences, I'm wide open, pass me the ball. He's at a Travis Scott concert while he has a concussion. Like, no, lock in on football. This is the time of the year where you have to be 100% of your focus has to be on the sport. 100% of your focus has to be on the job. You can back off in February, in March, in April. You have to lock in a little bit for voluntary OTAs in May. But really, July through February, if your team is playing that far, the Giants will be done by the middle of January. Everybody has to be locked in. Everybody has to be one cohesive unit, building chemistry and getting better week by week. That is not what the Giants are. There's no chemistry. This offensive line is brutal. And yeah, I know you don't have Andrew Thomas, but he's out a big chunk of this season, it seems like every year. So you got to build your offensive line to be able to withstand an injury like that. And yes, I know he's an all-pro and he's not easy to replace, but you have to. You have to get competent backups for his position, which the Giants haven't had year in and year out. The Giants are flat out abysmal. The Giants are terrible. Is it going to be Cam Moore, Jackson Dart, Carson Beck? Who's coming to New York next year? All these guys are. I'd be excited too because I mean you got a good coaching staff, a good quarterback coach in Brian Daboll. So even though they've been bad in the past couple of years, I wouldn't mind going to New York and getting taught under Brian Daboll. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Bally. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all my socials linked in the description below. And keep it locked with the Sports Pod.